Hey, it's DBJ. Here's another Eclipse phase video. And this one is about something called the clanking masses. Now, after the fall of Earth, a computer program called the Titans, and somehow they are linked to, in league with, or enemies of the exigent virus. But however your description is of how Earth fell, a lot of the people that escaped Earth and populated the rest of the solar system escaped Earth not in their biological bodies, but as digital information, also known as infugees. And these infugees, or info refugees, were downloaded into cortical stacks and placed in, or saved in various habitats throughout the solar system, mainly in the inner system. And so, because they didn't have biological bodies, it was very easy to basically stack these thumb drives and black box thumb drives all around in preparation to put them back into their biological bodies. But the problem with that is that, of course, as a thumb drive, you take up very little space, you're not hurting anyone, and you're not really drawing any power. So when they go to reconstitute you and bring you back into reality, you need a body to be placed into. And the easiest thing to build would be a mechanical body called a synth morph. The synth morph is essentially a roboticized body. It is mechanical, there's no biological function in it, or very little in it, and you are now inside of this body. Now, many people that left Earth, as time has passed, their worth, their skills, and their value mean nothing in this transhuman society. You know, it's the idea of like the doctors, the lawyers, the teachers, the professionals of, investors and politicians may be useless in the future. Your skill set will diminish. A bus driver's skill set is worthless in this new world after the fall. And so your brain, your thumb drive's placed into a mechanical body, and you basically are around to do menial work. And so there's a horde, especially on the moon or in Luna, there's a horde of people just walking around as robots. And although they may have some memories of their life outside, they're essentially servants, and they do menial jobs. Now, here's the benefit to that. Essentially, as long as there's parts available and upgrades, you can live forever. As long as your brain doesn't degrade and you do not suffer any psychological damage, you'll live forever. You can most likely operate in a vacuum. Radiation-wise, you can survive hard radiation, as most computer systems and mechanical systems are hardened against hard radiation. You're stronger than human, probably quicker, more accurate. You don't need to rest except to rest your mind. You are infatigable. You do not need to rest. You could hold on to a metal bar for days on end. So then it begs the question, well, if like 70% of the people living on the moon are part of the clanking masses, why don't they just overthrow their masters? And there's a lot of reasons for that. One of the reasons for them even being referred to as the clanking masses is that they're still human. So despite being in a roboticized body, there's this desire to act and play and interact and to be a normal human being. You want to see the sunset, you want to hug your kids, you want to watch a movie, you want to eat a pizza, and you want to just be treated and act as a human. And every time you stumble across something that you don't, those individuals have a hard time reconciling the fact that they are not human and they want to be human. Almost a wistful jealousy. If I work hard enough if I stay this way long enough, there will be an opportunity for me to buy or transfer into a biological body, and I will be able to be with my family when I get the chance. And so, not everyone thinks this is the ideal situation. I mean, living in a vacuum and in hard irradiation on the moon in a tunnel somewhere, just rocking back and forth while you're plugged in, plugged in, can get pretty darn boring, and it's almost like a psychological prison even. There's also the idea that people are afraid. Even though you may be this Terminator-like machine, your existence is based on the hypercore overlords, people who are richer and much more powerful than you. And so when your arm gets stuck into a hydraulic door and busts off, it needs to be repaired by someone, whether it's another machine or a technician. And because you do not heal, they could literally just flush you out of a airlock and be done with you, and you will float in space forever. There's also the fact that because you are part and parcel of these overlords, as all these infugees escaped Earth and were placed in these mechanical bodies, the hypercores, in their way to get over on you, say, well, you are living in a body that we own. You owe us the value of the body you are in. Sure, technology's gotten better, so maybe your body's worth, I don't know, $200,000 or credits or whatever value you want to place on it. And they go, well, you have to work for us till you pay off your debt. Oh, by the way, we're going to subtract from you the energy it takes to upkeep you, the costs for a technician to monitor your systems, the psychological evaluations we give you once a month to make sure you're okay, and the small but menial living quarters that you live in. So we're going to deduct that from your pay as well. Oh, and by the way, we're going to deduct just a little bit plus interest on your $200,000 body. It's going to take you 85 years to pay this off. But don't worry, as long as you work hard, we will treat you fairly. And so there's this indentured servitude that has crept up in the system as far as the clanking masses are concerned, that they are stuck in a loop where they have to work hard to get out of it. If they don't work hard, they're trapped or may even be considered junk. Even if they do work hard, they'll have to work hard for so long that they will never get out of it. And the next subject I'm going to bring up is social pressure. The social pressure against the clanking masses is such that they are an underclass. These are individuals where you've escaped Earth, you've lived, let's say, on the moon as a colonist, you're part of a family, you're third generation Lunarian or Loony living on the moon, and all of a sudden now, 800 million people are now dumped in your backyard, and you're just pissed off. And all these people absorbing resources. We've got to find jobs for you. We've got to train you. We've got to use technology to give you skills. Along with that, there are lots of people who escaped Earth that were just bastards. Criminals, thieves, rapists, a-holes, narcissists, greedy little bastards, selfish individuals, people who never thought about committing a crime, who are like, well, hell, I can get away with anything I want to. I can lift 1.5 tons. And all these individuals are giving the law-abiding ones a bad name. They're committing larceny, robbery, theft, vandalism. They're protesting in the streets. And all you want to do is just work hard, pay off your debt, and get the hell up out of here. Move on somewhere else. And this can be extremely difficult for you because you are still obligated to work for these hypercore masters, and there's these other people who are upstarts. There's also the fact that there's this crab in a barrel mentality. And this crab in a barrel mentality is that everybody wants to be on top. You're working side by side with about 500 people, building or mining He3 out of the soil of the moon, and everybody there wants to get ahead and move on and get into a higher social strata, just like you. And if they can get a brownie point with the boss by letting the boss know that you stole some playing cards, or you have an illegal blueprint and you want to print off a couple of paintings for your little your little hovel that you live in, closet that you plug yourself into, yeah, they'll tell on you. And they'll stab you in the back just to get ahead. And all the hard work you've done, you've worked 3 years. You've just worked your ass off. You're saving money. And then all of a sudden, one of your best friends is like, hey, he's ordering pizzas online. He doesn't need to eat pizza. He's a machine. Who's he ordering pizzas for? Hey, maybe he needs to be decommissioned for a couple of months while you do while you do a diagnostic. And oh, by the way, hey, I'll take his job while he's doing that, and his pay. Can I get his pay as well? You know, there's always somebody there to stick you in the back. And lastly, keeping the clanking masses in check is the VR lifestyle. And the VR lifestyle is a virtual reality lifestyle. And so if someone were to tell you, say, you could live a life of anything you can dream of. If you wanted to live in the world of Pathfinder, you wanted to live as a superhero, you wanted to live and be a rich and famous person in a soap opera. But this would be all virtual reality. But in your mind, it's completely real. This fills and completely encompasses all of your senses. But every once in a while, you have to hit the quote-unquote real world, do some service work to go back into your virtual reality world. Would you do it? If you could live as a superhero, but 8 hours a day, you've got to live as a normal person, maybe mopping floors or putting bolts into a spaceship or digging ore out of the moon or on a comet or something, would you do it? Some people might say, virtual reality is a great escape. You could live a year of virtual reality and it may only take a month's time. Time can flow differently because it's all digital. And so many people, they do their menial jobs. When they get done, they go back to their hovel, plug themselves in to be recharged or what have you, or have themselves checked out or scrubbed of hard radiation. And while they're doing this, they dump themselves right into a VR world, and they live there with their friends and family. Maybe those friends and family are fake. Maybe they're just AI programs, as simple as they are. Or maybe they really are their friends and family who are living in other bodies scattered around the planet, let's say Luna, or the habitat that they live in, or on the spaceship that's farming this comet, or maybe in the asteroid belt, and they cannot physically get together with their family, but they get together in this virtual reality. Hey, there's a beach, there's a sunset, and when you get off work, please drop on in, and we're going to have fun at the beach. We're going to play volleyball and drink pina coladas until our next shift. Many people go into this virtual reality. So the clanking masses is a term just used for the sheer vast number of infugees, their cortical stacks placed inside of mechanical bodies. Not all of them are humanoid or human looking. Some of them are machines, some of them are flying machines, digging machines, labor intensive, or even those in the social strata. They translate other languages or documents. They work in research centers, and essentially they are the slave labor or indentured servitude of the future. So, in short, that's my check on the clanking masses and a little bit of the infugees. And as always, nanofabricate, do not disintegrate.